And an idea, well, you should get it out of your head as soon as possible. Therefore, there was an article that I read, and which talked about, the title was "Why Modern Muslim Spirituality Isn't Helping." Modern Muslim spirituality is not helping. One of the most common misconceptions about Islam is the idea that embracing faith magically erases hardships. The fact that you brought Iman, all the hardships will be gone, erased, and non-existent. That once a person becomes Muslim, life becomes smooth, pain disappears, and problems resolve themselves. The reality is far more honest and far more profound. As this word of Ahl-e-Bait, in which he said, whoever loves us, the people of the house, the Ahl-e-Bait, let him prepare for a truth of poverty. This is just Imam is alluding to poverty, but what Imam means is let him get ready for the difficulties to collect him or to engulf him. Islam does not promise a life without difficulty. So your life will remain engulfed around difficulties. And in fact, for some people, challenges may even increase. The moment they walk into the realm of Islam, their challenges, as asked many, those who have converted, their prior life, and after having embraced Islam, their difficulties only increased. It's not like, things around them became easier for them. What Islam offers instead is something far more enduring. It gives you coordinates, right? You need coordinates. As a pilot, as a navigator, what do you need? You need the coordinates so you can get to that direction. That's what Islam provides. It gives you the coordinates, a way to navigate suffering with meaning, with direction, and with purpose. So you know the problem is there, you know the suffering is there, you know the difficulty is there, but you have the coordinates. What to do with it, how to handle it, where to go about it. Human beings do not suffer only because of pain itself. While many would like to believe in that fact, they don't suffer because of pain itself, but because pain feels random, isolating, and meaningless. That is the reason sometimes pain is the culprit, as we want to call it. We see that Islam reframes hardship. It gives you another perspective. How do you look at difficulty and how do you perceive this hardship? It teaches that struggle is not a sign of abandonment, but often a sign of care. The struggle is a sign of care. That difficulty is not chaos, but part of a larger design. With faith, suffering becomes intelligible. It has a place. Therefore, pain is not always bad. Pain is actually your friend. Without it, you will not be able to locate the problem and then get to the cure of it. So at the center of this navigation stands the example of Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of course his grandson Imam Hussein, the Ali alayhi salam. Whatever a person is facing, grief, rejection, confusion, trauma, loss, they find themselves in difficulties and whatnot. Look at Prophet's life. He was an orphan, betrayed, he was mocked, he was physically harmed, driven away from his home, and burdened with immense responsibility. Right? Just a quick review of the Prophet's life would be enough for you to go through this. But yet his response to hardship was never bitterness. It was clarity, mercy, resilience, rooted in connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now of course I'm going to give example of the Prophet, and I'm going to give example of Imam Hussein, but that does not mean we look at their example and say, oh, they were Masumeen. How can I be at that level? That's where the mistake comes about. They were Masumeen, but they lived like you and I in this world. That's why there are the best example, the best moral, and the leaders and the role models for you. Islam does not strip people of who they are. It does not force them into new personality or erase their individuality. Instead, it unlocks something deeper for them, who they were always meant to be. That's what it gives you. You didn't know what you were meant to be. Now, while you have embraced this religion, now you have understood this religion, now you have that identity. Through this prophetic model, Islam refines rather than replaces. It curates the human soul rather than suppressing. The Prophet was not merely a historical figure delivering the rules, ahkam, ayat. That's not the only purpose of the Prophet. He was a living guide, a conduit through which divine wisdom became humanly accessible. Yes. He was a connection between us and the divine, and he brought this message to us. But along with that, he was a living example. His life provided not just laws, but all the ways of seeing things with clarity, ways of responding, and ways of loving. Through him, abstract belief became embodied practices. People used to do certain things even prior to Islam without any, elements to it, without any clarity to it. But what did he do? He brought these abstract beliefs and made it into this embodied practice that we have. Therefore, it's logical, backed by the logic created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Christians find the example of Hazrat Isa, and we find that in our 12 Imams, especially Imam Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salatu. Why? Hussein ibn Ali is someone who faced difficulty head on. تركت الخلق طرا في هواك أيتمت العيال لكي أراك. These are the words. When he is facing the enemy and everyone else has been already martyred. He said, تركت الخلق طرا في هواك. I abandoned the creation. For what? طرا في هواك. In order to seek your desire. أيتمت العيال. I orphaned my children. أيتمت العيال لكي أراك. So that I may witness your beauty. These are the words of Allah. Someone who's facing challenges head on. Look at how he's embracing it. And then famous words of Bibi Zainab. All of you should have it memorized by now. ما رأيت إلا جميلا. I see nothing except beauty in what is happening to us. So when you're able to look at adversity, difficulty, pain with this perspective and with beauty in it, then pain doesn't feel pain anymore. Adversity doesn't feel adversity anymore. And therefore we see among the important characteristics of divine leaders are strong faith, a firm and resolute will, and decisiveness and steadfastness in pursuing their goal. Seventh Imam, Imam Musa al-Kazim,
اللهم صل على
he said, وَقَدْ عَلِمْتُ أَنَّ زَادَ الرَّاحِلِ إِلَيْكَ عَزْمُ إِرَادَةٍ يَخْتَارُكَ بِهَا. He says, and I know this is the dua of 27th of Rajab, associated with our 7th Imam. He said, and I know that the provision of the one journeying toward you is the resolve of a will by which he chooses you. Of course, these words of Masumeen are not very easily understood. The most important thing, the Imam says in his words, is that person carries towards God is a will that has decisively chosen him, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that very decision is the heart's private conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've chosen him. And then you put your trust in him. Tawakkul ala Allah. This tawakkul is not blind. This tawakkul is based on the reality that you have made this decision with complete comprehension and understanding. Certainly, those who set out on the path of God with firm faith and deep recognition possess an iron will, not an iron dome. And in order to attain their lofty aims, they do not allow fear of the hardship, of the path, of the suffocating obstacles to enter their lives. These things will come about. Suffocation will come about. Difficulties will come about. You will see that you're losing. You will see that your numbers are scanty. You'll see that you're thinning out. But nonetheless, your hopes and your tawakkul makes you continue on this path. Imam Hussein, as the leader of the Ashura uprising, possessed such determination and steadfastness. In response to his brother, Muhammad al-Hanafiya, who was proposing, to Imam, because of his love that he had for him, another path. The Imam expressed his powerful motive and unbreakable resolve in confronting the tyrannical ruler of Banu Umayyah. Imam said the following. He said, Ya akhi, O my brother, Wallahi law lam yakun malja'un wa la ma'wa lama ba'i'atu Yazid ibn Muawiyah. O my brother, by God, even if there were no refuge or place of shelter on the face of the earth, I would not pledge allegiance to Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Even if there was no malja, even if there was no refuge, even if there was no security, I will still not put my hand in bay'ah to Yazid ibn Muawiyah. This statement of Imam Hussein recalls the same resolute words that you find in the kalam of the noble prophet when his uncle Hazrat Abu Talib approached him with the proposal from the Quraysh, telling him, let go of your, ways of condemning their idols and proposing one God. Let go of these things. We will give you this, we will give you this, we will give you this. Three things were promised. What was the response? You all know the response. He said, لَوْ وَضَعُ الشَّمْسَ فِي يَمِينِي وَالْقَمَرَ فِي يَسَارِي مَا رَأَيْتُ. If they were to place moon, sun on my right hand, moon on my left hand, I will not let go. I would not accept what they are offering. So, don't be intimidated by your adversities, by your adversaries, by your enemies. Respond to their bluff with what? With clarity. Give you one more example from the kalam of Sayyid al-Shu'ala, that after Muawiyah put Hujr ibn Adi to martyrdom along with a group of companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He traveled for Hajj later that same year, and he met Imam Hussein at Hajj. In a gathering, in the course of his conversation, seeking to intimidate others in the gathering, and perhaps also try to frighten Imam Hussein as well, because of his motives and the goals that he had. He said with a particular arrogance, and the history narrates this. He said, "Oh, Abu Abdullah, have you heard what we did to Hujr ibn Adi and his companions who were among the Shia of your father?" Imam responded, "What did you do to them?" Muawiyah replied by saying, "We killed them, shrouded them, and performed funeral prayers over their bodies." Imam laughed or smiled. He said, "Khasmaka al-qawm ya Muawiyah, lakinnana law qatalna shi'atak ma kaffannahum wa la sallayna alayhim wa la kabarnahum." There's a difference between us and you, O Muawiyah. "O Muawiyah, these people are your adversaries, but if we were to kill your followers, we would not shroud them, we would not pray over them, we would not bury them. You killed the Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib, you shrouded them, you prayed over them, and you performed their last rituals." This is the moral contrast between the two camps. Imam Hussein draws a clear line between the legitimate martyrdom and the criminal killing. What we will do will be legitimate. What you have done is criminality. And it also exposes the hypocrisy. He was boasting about killing the companions of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Hujr ibn Adi, his maqam, and the companions, shrouding them, praying over them, and burying the martyrs, trying to appear religious after committing the murder. Imam Hussein unmasks this hypocrisy by showing the religious rites do not sanctify injustice. What you have done remains to be a very grave sin. So, the challenges of our time, or the challenge of our time, is not lack of information about Islam or about Deen. but a lack of access to its lived wisdom. That's why you should be proud that you believe in a faith. You believe in a maktaba in which there's a living wisdom amongst you. That is the Imam of the time, Imam Mahdi Ajjalullah.
Allah.